Now moving on, our next session is by Dr. Satyan Sharma ji, who will be providing us a glimpse on the Parāśara-Mādhava of Swami Vidyaranya. Just a brief introduction to the speaker. Dr. Satyan Sharma is the guest faculty at the Department of Sanskrit at Punjab University, Chandigarh. His field of specialization is Darsana and he has earned his PhD degree for his thesis titled A Critical Study of Anandagnana's Tarka-sangraha, which is based on a rare Vedantic text from 12th century CE. Dharmashastras and are also his area of interest, and he is especially interested in knowing how Dharmashastras were practiced in ancient times as well as later times. Very warm welcome to you, Dr. Satyan. Please go ahead and start the session.
Namah Shivaya Namo Gurave. Thank you for this opportunity. So I'll be starting the presentation. The title of my presentation is A Glimpse into Vidyaranya's Parāśara-Mādhava. I'll be only briefly talking about some highlights of a very huge text. So if I miss something important aspect which I have not been able to incorporate into this presentation, so pardon me for that. So basic information of this text is it is a commentary by Madhavacharya, who is also known as Swami Vidyaranya. The speciality of this text is that this is concerned specifically with the Kali Yuga. It has 12 chapters. Chapters 1 to 3 are on Achar and 4 to 12 are on Prayaschitta. So much of the text is related to Prayaschitta. First, I'll be talking about the introduction which Swami Vidyaranya himself has given on this text. Some praise and some other details. So he praises this text, Parashara Smriti, as he says, Kalau hi papa bahulyam drishyate smaryate picha narah prayolpa samarthyas tesham anujigrikshaya samakocha yadacharam prayaschittam vratani cha. So he says that in Kali Yuga, there is a lot of sin. The sin has increased, papa has increased, and most humans, or humans in most cases, are not able enough to counter them. And it is for this reason that Parashar Muni has shrunk the Acharya requirements, the Prayaschitta requirements, and Vratas. So it is through his mercy that he has provided for some lesser Prayashchittas, some lesser Acharya requirements in this Yuga. Tesham nindana kartavya yugarupa hite dvijah ityuktam adavante cha prayuktaisha kripaluta. So he cites this verse in his introduction to the commentary in the Upadghata. He has said that this is also a sign of his Kripaluta, of Parashara Rishi, that he says that because there is a lot of Yuga Prayukta Durachar, so we should not censure the people if they are not able to counter them, because the Yuga is Kali Yuga and it has a lot of influences, involuntary influences and inevitable influences on us. Then he cites some merciful benefits that have been given to us by Parashara Rishi. Vedai kadeshadhyayanam krishya vipradi jivanam ityadi vachasacare sankocho bhasade sputam. So Acharya Sankocha, how he has modified the Achar is that he, Parashara Rishi has suggested that if not all of the Veda, a part of the Veda can also be studied, can also be learnt. Also, he has ordained or established Krishi as a method for earning a living for Brahmanas and all other Varnas also. Then Prajapatyam govadhe syad brahmagne setu darshanam iti mukhya vrataktvokte sankocho trapi gamyate. For Govadha, he has suggested Prajapatya, and for Brahmahatya, he has established Setu Darshana. So here also there is Sankocha in the Prayaschitta. and the details are in the Smriti in the main commentary section. Other observations by Vidyaranya. Muni naikena yat proktam tadanyo na nishedhati pratyutodaharet tasmat purvoktam sarvasammatam. So this is very important because when we study a lot of Smritis, it seems at a first glance that one Muni is talking of about the same topic in another manner. He has given some opinion, some view, and the other Muni has given another view. So do they invalidate each other's views, or do they oppose each other's views? So Madhavacharya says, or Vidyaranya Swami says, that that is not the case. They do not invalidate each other's views. They only state their views. And on this basis, he talks about Parāśara also ahead. Yatha cha drishyate vakyam shaktischayvasti yavati tavat karyam natu peksha yukta vaigunya shankaya. So, however, so there are a lot of Smritis and there are Itihasa Purana Granthas also. So we should not be always suspicious about if we find a vrata or a prayaschitta in some text and we find that we are adhikaris for that. We should not be unnecessarily suspicious that maybe we are missing a detail which is mentioned in another Smriti, or there is an opposition. The kind of Vakya there is, the kind of Shakti it has, we should not do upeksha of that Vakya just because we think or we suspect some Vaigunya. The conclusion to the introduction, here he mentions what he's going to do in the Smriti, in the commentary of the Smriti. Prayaschitte tathachare yani smrityantaranyaham drishtavan stan udahritya sangharishya gunastata vishayasya vyavastham cha mandavyutpatti siddhaye pravakshami yatha purve nibandhana kritastatha. So he's saying that I'll be providing a Vishaya Vyavastha because there are a lot of Smritis talking about Prayaschitta and Achar. So I'll be collecting all the views and I'll provide a Vishaya Vyavastha for Mandav Vyutpatti Siddhi. So it is for the dull-minded people who have a lot of suspicion or who cannot understand, who find Virodh in the various statements of different statements of Smritikaras and Nibandhakaras. So as the other Nibandhanakaras have done, so similarly I will do. Yad yasmin vishaye proktam tatra tasya prashastata vivakshata netarasya nishedhotra vivakshate. This is a general rule which I like, that wherever whatever has been spoken in a certain Vishaya, it is not a nishedh of another view or another statement of some Muni. The only thing is that it has been praised. So praise is vivakshata, not the nishedh. So we should not be seeing it as an opposition or an invalidation. It is only that at that point of time, in that situation, in the way that it has been said, it is a praise, that it is praiseworthy. If you do this, you will be benefited. So here some highlighted points. The significance of atha. So the Parashara Smriti begins with the word atha, which is well known is an auspicious sound or an auspicious word, other than Om. So there are two auspicious words, Om and Atha. So the so-called opponent of Madhavacharya or Vidyaranya Swami suggests that instead of Atha, Om should have been used. So Vidyaranya Swami says that Om is related to the Vedas, and Vedas are for Traivaranikas. Because of the certain Shastric rules, it is for the Traivaranikas and not for all humans. In that case, he then interprets it from the perspective of Adhikari and says that to include Om would restrict the Parashara Smriti only to the Traivaranikas. Hence, for the Paurushaya texts and also for the Smriti, Atha is better suited. Because when we begin with Atha, the Anushtan or the knowledge of this text will be open to all the Varnas. Atha Shabdasya Paurushaya Granthananja Sarva Varna Vishayatvat Sa Eva Teshu Yogya. So for the Paurushaya texts and the other Sarva Varna Vishaya things, Atha Shabd is better suited, and we can extend this application of the word Atha to other Granthas also, other Paurushaya Granthas also. Then the topic of the text, Vidyaranya Swami tells that during Kali Yuga, Yajana Adhyapana, and dan also have become insufficient for survival. So although they have been given as ajivikas or vrittis for example, the Brahman, the yajan, adhyapan, and dan, pratigraha is a method of survival or vritti. It is impossible or it is insufficient in Kali Yuga. Hence for survival, the abhyudaya and nishreyas of humans, dharma which is easy to be performed, has been mainly stated, like farming and so forth, for brahmanas. So here, although Krishi has been censured in other smritis like Manusmriti also, because there is a lot of hinsa happening there. Although this has been recognized by Parashara Muni also and also Vidyaranya Swami, but because it has been stated, the reason for the statement here in this Smriti is because in Kali Yuga, Yajan, Adhyapan, and so forth are insufficient for survival. He reiterates that in Kali Yuga, it is not possible that humans would look forward to perform dharma, which requires a lot of effort. So this is very evident that in Kali Yuga, the anushthan, which requires a lot of effort, does not seem very lucrative and very attractive to many people. So hence, when Vyas Muni asked, and along with the other sages, they asked for mainly for the sadharana dharma. The first question was for sadharana dharma, and sadharana dharma, which has been taken to be achar by Swami Vidyaranya in this commentary. So he mentions that, and acharo dharma palaka, which in the next slides will be explained. So in this Kali Yuga, easier dharma has been suggested in this Smriti. Then Madhavacharya or Vidyaranya Swami explains the greatness of dharma. He says that such is the great power of dharma that fierce people like Kshatriyas, who have the ability to kill, but being afraid due to dharma, they do not kill people like Brahmanas who cannot pay them taxes. And not only that, they give dan to them. Aho mahadedam dharmasya samarthyam yat kshatriyade rugro marane samarthopi dharmad bhitah kara pradana dhyanupayoginam yachakam vipradikam nam marayati pratyuta tasmai dhanam dadati. So in the background of this part of the commentary, it has been said that dharma is a regulator. So the position of dharma in the whole of the cosmos, in the whole of the creation, is that things might get irregulated and it might lead to chaos. So dharma plays this role in protecting the creation and giving it an order so that things don't become chaotic, and it provides also for the abhyudaya and nishreyas of each creature. Then we come to the Yuga Swarupa, which is a very important part, because in Kali Yuga, everything that was suggested or being done in the other yugas cannot be performed. So the nature of yugas is related to the gradation of the ability of the person who practices dharma in it. So whatever has been suggested, for example, in Manusmriti, it is mostly Kritetu Manava Dharma, as it being said in the Parashara Smriti. Mostly it was to be done in the Krita Yuga. Now the situations have changed, and the Yuga Swarup is related to the ability of the people living in it and who perform dharma. And accordingly, a change in anushtanas is also possible. So here Madhavacharya says that there is tadanusarena anusthana vaishamyam sambhavati. There is some change in the anushtanas. This is because regarding nitya karmas, it has been stated that as one may be able, so one do yatha shaknuyat tatha kuryat. He further says that in the third path of the 6th chapter of Purva Mimamsa, it has been stated that the pradhana nitya karma should be performed even when it is not possible to perform a certain anga, and that the phal would still be achieved. Tatah ashakyanga parityagena pradhanam kartavyam tavataiva shastra vashat phalasiddhi. So the angas have changed, but the main karma, the nitya karmas, have not changed. And even though the angas cannot be performed due to yuga swabhava or yuga swarup, the main pradhana karma can be performed as per the rules of the current shastra, that is the Parashara Smriti currently. Then Kali Yuga and Parashara Smriti, he says that in every kalpa, Parashara Smriti is related to Kali Yuga, which is why when it is about Prayashittas in Kali Yuga, Parashara should be especially regarded. Various munis have stated various Prayashittas related to Yuga Samarthya. This is also to be noted that the other prayashittas which are to be practiced mostly in the other yugas are related to the yuga samarthya of that particular yuga. Having deliberated about the yugas, both the yuga samarthya and its corresponding prayashitta, the vyavastha of reprehensible nindya and non-reprehensible or anindya should be done. So the nindyata and anindyata, this difference should be done as per the yuga samarthya and not generally. The statements of reprehension is for the person who, according to the yuga samarthya, does not perform that which is to be performed and does not refrain from what has been told to be refrained from, and being able to perform the prayashchitta of the sin he has committed through negligence, he does not perform prayashchit for it. So as per the yuga samarthya, if he can do something and he does not do something, the vihita karmas and the nishiddha karmas, if he does engage in the nishiddha karmas as per yuga samarthya, he will be nindya. And if he does not do the vihita karmas of this yuga as suggested by the Smriti, again he will be reprehensible or nindya. So he does not perform for it. For the one who is able to perform them, there are such statements. Who is not able to perform them, there are such statements as they should not be censured. So tesham nindana kartavya, these kind of statements are for those who are unable to perform the dharmas. So that is why there is sankoch in achar and prayashittas, because a lot of the things that have been talked about in the other smritis may not be able to be performed in this era, in this yuga. Now the achar, the protector of dharma, acharo dharma palaka. In this part, achar has been taken to be sadharana dharma. The conduct which is related to mercy, favorability, humility, daya dakshanyadaya, is achar approved by shishtas. Such achar protects both the shrauta and smarta dharmas because the behaviors injurious to dharma, like cruelty, anger, etc., are absent. If achar is altogether absent, there is the presence of those behaviors which are opposed to dharma, which is why dharma does not happen, and if it happens anyway, it leaves. This achar, the protector of dharma, is common for all four varnas. So the basis of dharma, as Manusmriti also says, navipradushta bhavasya siddhim gachanti karahichit. In that verse also, the chitta shuddhi or the behaviors which are favorable for dharma are required, are a prerequisite for the performance and the successful performance of the other rituals or anushtanas. So here also achar is told to be the protector of both the shraut and smarta dharmas. If this does not happen, the dharma may come but will eventually leave for the lack of a good foundation. Sin possesses parts. Now this is in the Upodghat part of the Parāśara Smriti Vyakhya. Swami Vidyaranya suggests a very interesting aspect. He says that even though pap is amurta, it is not a solid thing, it does possess parts. The reason he says for this is that a single sin or a single pap causes varied suffering, causes various kinds of suffering, which is why we have to imagine that it has parts. In this manner, even a small vrata or a prayashchitta would not be even a small vrata or prayashchitta would not be completely useless when used to destroy a bigger sin, because it would definitely destroy some portion of it. Now, someone may be suspicious about that if this vrat is able or this prayashchitta is able to destroy the complete sin or not. So if the sin is one complete whole thing, niravayava padartha, so then it would be either black or white. It would either destroy the pap or would not destroy a pap. If pap has parts, then even a small vrat would eventually destroy some portion of the pap, so it would not be useless in any way. So all the vratas or all the prayashchittas, as they may be as per the adhikar, they will work, they will destroy some portion of the pap, however small or big. Prayashchitta could also lead to swarga. This is also from the introduction of the Upodghat part. In case a combination of rituals like japa, home, etc. Is employed as a prayashchitta to destroy a sin, if, for instance, the first of the rituals destroys the sin, would the second ritual become useless? Because pap is invisible, is only known through Shastra, or by those who are siddhas. So it is not for us to decide how big or small the pap is. So we usually do it by thinking that we may have committed a sin or we have committed a sin, but we do not know the amount of pap that has happened. So if we do a combination in a prayashit, if the pap by chance is destroyed by the first of the rituals, would the second or the third become useless? So Swami Vidyaranya says no, because the ritual is of the form of tapasya, it could become a cause of swarga. So if the first ritual has destroyed the sin, the second, third, and fourth and the following rituals would contribute towards the attainment of swarga or other good things, maybe jnana also. Next is a very good part from the Upadghat portion, that a big prayashit does not necessarily mean a difficult one. In case someone thinks that a vrata or a prayashit which requires more effort is a great vrata, is a mahavrata, then people like the farmers and so forth would become the performers of great vratas. So if physical exhaustion or the greater physical effort means a bigger vrata, or it infers a bigger vrata, that is not the case. If it were the case, then people doing dangerous jobs or people doing physically exhausting jobs would become mahavratas or the performers of mahavratas. This is why mahavrata is that which is praised by the Shastra, however small it may seem. So we should have shraddha for the vratas as stated by the Shastra, even though they may seem very small or easy to be done. If it has been praised by the Shastra, tasmat shastrena yasya ukta prashansa tan mahavratam. It is a very important statement and can be taken to other Smriti granthas also. Useless suspicion regarding some opposing Shastra statement. If it is with great trust in the vratas or prayashitas stated by the Shastras for removing a certain sin, that a person chooses a certain vrat and performs it. Because we do not know pap directly, so we look at the Smriti or the Shastra and it suggests a vrat for it or prayashit for it, and we trust it and we perform it. Now, if a person suspects that a certain Shastra may contain a statement which goes against the vrat or some detail, how would he begin to perform it? Even if he knows the consistency of the said vrat with the statements of the Shastras, one would still be suspicious about an unknown Shastra statement and end up not performing any vrat at all. So, if one suspects that in some Shastra which is not currently available in front of me, there is some statement which either gives a detail or opposes the kind of detail that I have about this vrat. So this kind of Shanka, which is also called Shanka Pishachini, which enters at any moment. So due to that kind of Shanka, a person may not even start to perform a vrata and eventually be at a loss. So there is no reason to unnecessarily be suspicious about these things. If there is certain kind of consensus and we have the adhikar for it, we can perform it. Two kinds of impurity caused by sin. This comes in the commentary portion of the Rahasya Prayashita. So, Vidyaranya Swami says that a sin or a pap causes two kinds of impurity. One is aihiki, related to this world, and one is amushmiki, related to the world beyond this world. The former or the aihiki causes loss of vyavahar with the shishtas, whereas the latter causes naraka. This is why when a sin of a person is known to others, its destruction requires much more prayashit, because it is for also to regain the vyavahar. In the case of a hidden sin, due to the absence of aihiki impurity, the amushmiki impurity goes away even with lesser prayashitas like japa, homa, etc. So there he mentions such kind of rahasya prayashitas also, because now this is the reason why rahasya prayashitas are smaller, and the prayashitas for jnat papas are more for these two kinds of impurities. Krishi, Shilpa, and Vanijya as Achar. In other yugas, Krishi and so forth are mere professions, but in Kali Yuga, they are also Achar. In other yugas, getting Krishi performed by someone else is Apad Dharma, whereas in Kali Yuga, it is the Mukhya Dharma. Hence, Apad Dharma is to do Krishi by one's own self. Along with Krishi, Vanijya and Shilpa also are for all the four Varnas. Not just in this Kali Yuga, but in past Kali Yugas also, Krishi, Vanijya, and Shilpa have been dharmas of all four varnas. So this is a repetition in every kalpa. In the Kali Yuga, Parashar Smriti or Parashar Muni lays down these dharmas, Krishi, Vanijya, and Shilpa as achar for all the four varnas. Two kinds of adharma pravritti and the relevance of Shastra. Vidyaranya Swami tells that that there are two kinds of adharma pravritti, one caused by the yuga and the other caused by negligence, laziness, etc. Because the former cannot be given up, the adharma pravritti caused by the yuga is inevitable and we cannot give it up. That is why Parashara's effort, Parashara Rishi's effort is not against that kind of pravritti, because it is in any ways possible. It is not possible. It is regarding the latter adharma pravritti caused by negligence, laziness, etc. that Dharmashastra finds its place of application. So the adharma pravritti, which is caused by negligence and laziness, which is our own part, which we can correct, there the Dharmashastra is Savakash. Now the status of Chaturvarna and Dharmashastra in Kali Yuga. In the Kali Yuga, we do not find any brahmachari who practices all the rules and regulations laid down by the Shastras. This is what Vidyaranya Swami says. And similar is the status of the rituals laid down by the same. So when the knowledge of all the Vedas and the prescribed rules and regulations are not followed and gained, the rituals which are to be performed are also not performed. Hence, when the Mukhya Brahmana, as stated by the Shastras, is absent, Kshatriya and Vaishya Jatis do not exist. That is Vidyaranya Swami's opinion. One cannot even doubt the status of the Mukhya Shudra, because who would serve in the absence of Mukhya person who is worthy of being served? So that is the status of Chaturvarnya. Technically, Vidyaranya Swami says that there are only two Varnas, because he thinks that Kshatriya and Vaishya Jatis do not exist. The question then arises, should the Dharmashastra, which is related to the four Varnas, be lost completely, or in the absence of Mukhya Varnas, should it be practiced on the basis of the four Varnas as much as possible? Yatha Sambhavanushtham Chaturvarne Mashrite. The answer is, it is better to practice it as much as possible than to completely lose it. We should not take the adharma pravritti caused by the yuga as a fault. So what has been done by the yuga is yuga's fault, it is not our fault. But although two varnas, he says, are missing, we should as much as possible perform the dharma which is stated by the Dharmashastra, stated and has been stated for all the four varnas. Now, how it would be done, it is up to the scholars, but he says that as much as possible, we should not lose it, because Dharmashastra's adhikaris are all the four varnas, and if there are no Mukhya Brahmanas left and no Mukhya Shudras and Kshatriya Vaishya Jatis, as per him, do not exist, how would we apply it? So he says that as much as possible. Here also a lot of discussion and deliberation is required. He has added a lot of missing portions after verse 2.12 and chapter 2 and verse 15, sorry. Parashara Smriti ends the Varna Dharmas. There is no mention of Ashrama Dharma. So Parashara Smriti does not mention Ashrama Dharmas. This is because, as per Vidyaranya Swami, Vyas did not ask about them. So Vyas did not ask and Parashar Muni did not answer about it. But for the benefit of those who are hearing the text, Vidyaranya Swami has added a detailed discussion of the Ashrama Dharmas also, and here he is compiled all the Smritis. There is no portion on Vyavahar in the Parashara Smriti. Vidyaranya Swami has added the said portion himself in the third portion, the third volume by Tarkalankarji. For this, he gives the reason that in Achar Kand, the Achar of a Kshatriya king, that is protecting his dharma or citizens, has been stated. But as Brihaspati adds Vyavahar as Rajadharma, so in the Achar he has mentioned the Rajadharma, and he takes Brihaspati Smriti as a basis and says that Brihaspati adds Vyavahar also as a Rajadharma. So it is being stated in the Vyavahar Kand, which is completely constructed by Vidyaranya Swami himself. Some other portions like the Rahasya Prayaschitta, Karma Vipak, which are missing in Parashara Smriti, have also been compiled and mentioned by Vidyaranya Swami. The texts and authors cited in the Parashara Smriti Vyakhya, Parāśara-Mādhava, are interestingly, he has cited 27 Puranas, around 27 Puranas, and also Upapuranas, along with the Smritis. So this also answers a lot of the debate if Puranas are as authoritative as Smritis. He has also mentioned a lot of verses from Mahabharata. He has taken Manu, Yajnavalkya, Yam, Vasishtha, Vishwamitra, Shankh, Likhit, Harit, and other Smritikaras also. he has also referred to his Parāśara, Ramayana, and also Shruti. So these are the texts, some of the texts and the authors which have been mentioned in the Parāśara-Smriti Vyakhya. And with this, I end my presentation. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope I have briefly compiled the highlights of the text. And the text is very huge, and I suggest everyone to begin reading it. I've been reading it for a while, and I'll continue until I complete the whole text. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Satyan, for a very, very insightful, very wonderful presentation. I think since we both share the interest in Dharmashastra, so I have been fascinated by this Parāśara-Mādhava, and as you rightly said, it's a very, very elaborate text. So these insights, I think some of these insights that Parāśara-Smriti and Vidyaranya Swami brings about are not found in other texts or other commentaries. So these are bring about a very important perspective of contextualizing the dharmic teachings to our contemporary Kali Yuga. So thank you very much for highlighting this.
Thank you for the opportunity.